We're at Corvette Racing here with Bryan Garvey, who just returned from South America for the 35th annual Dakar Rally. And he's going to tell us about it. It's a grueling race of, 14 days or something along those lines. Tell us more about your experience.
Well, Dakar is supposed to be the ultimate motorsport challenge, and that is what they billed it as since it was in its inception. It originally ran from Paris to Dakar, Senegal. And in 2009, they moved the race to South America, and it's been run there since. And so what it involves is 5,800 miles of racing in 14 days, primarily off-road. And it throws at you every bit of terrain, obstacle that they can think to pack in. And so, in South America specifically, we started in Buenos Aires. We went, across the plains. So there you have, the open plain runs. You have some mountains. You have some tight track trails in between fields. You have mud. You start at cool temperature. The second day we get up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. From there we climb up to across the Andes and over into Chile. And once we do that, in Chile we get into the sand dunes and the Atacama Desert and those dunes. And the Atacama Desert is the driest place on Earth. The dunes are incredible. It is like the face of the moon. There is not a stick of grass or anything you can see from some of the tops of the dunes as far as you can see. It's just this infinite sand tops that are constantly changing because of the wind. So we take those on for 3 or 4 days, work to the north part of Chile, and from there we cross back over the Andes, and now we're in the upper elevations of Bolivia, where we cross the Salt Flats, which is one of the largest salt flats in the world. So we've gone from temperature, sand, dunes, altitude. One of our passes was over 15,000 feet elevation. We get into Bolivia. We stay overnight at a 10,000 foot elevation base with no support to help rework the car. Retrace our steps, come back down out of Bolivia, back through the dunes of Chile, back across the Andes, and then back to Buenos Aires in 14 days. So in that time, I raced every day, all day long, took on whatever challenge came our way, and we had everything you can think of. Mechanical failure, stuck in the sand, hit by another competitor, rolled the car over, trapped in the car. I mean, everything was thrown at us, but we just keep persevering. But slept in the tent, took a cold shower every night, but got back up every day, and you just kept on going. And so it was a true experience, a true challenge to take on for sure.
Wow, I just can't imagine. I mean, how did you hold up? After the first day, I think I'd be exhausted and hard to carry on for 13 more days. So how do you do that? How do you manage that? And then also, you're pretty much on your own, right? It's not without a chase crew or something of that sort, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's part of the international cross-country or rally race style, is that once we leave the start line in the morning, we can take no outside support as a racer except from another race team until we get to the finish that night. And however long it takes you to get to that finish, depending on whatever obstacle you encounter, is however long it takes you. You're only required to make the restart the next morning. And in fact, one day we were stuck in the sand, got down in what basically were the equivalent of silt beds, and kept trying to work through that. Other people were stuck blocking the way. We're having to work around. We kept having to get around them. We get stuck again, and it just went on and on and on. We started in the morning, didn't end up finishing that stage until 4:00 a.m. the next day. Then got in and took a late start for the next day because we had to get in, refuel the car, try to do some repairs on it, eat, get back in the car, and take off immediately as quick as we can, and then raced all day long. So that's part of the challenge, and that's what makes it Dakar. Well,
it seems as if there's a number of different skill sets that you have to have, being a driver, but also a navigator perhaps, and then also the mechanical side of it to repair the vehicle at the end of the day. What was your biggest repair or most challenging?
Well, and there were a few, and that's what attracts me, I think, to cross-country rally, is that the challenge is not just driver skill, and it's not just navigation skill, it's driver, navigation, and mechanical ability, and endurance over time, day after day after day. But in Dakar, or in one day, we lost the starter, we lost the power steering pump, we got so much sand trapped in the steering servo that it locked up. We couldn't steer the car. We we carried two spares. We ended up having 8 flats. That's because we're able to repair 2 tires with duct tape and bungee cord.
Wow.
And then we just drove on flats because that's the only choice we had. So, broke the mount that holds the power steering pump on the motor. And it's hard to pull off welding when you're in the middle of nowhere with no one to help you. So wire and.
As far as navigation side, do you have an opportunity to scout the route beforehand? Are you given any waymarks, waypoints, or anything like that, or seat of your pants, or how does that work?
No, and that's part of the cross-country and international rally style, is that there is no pre-running of the course. The course is not known to the competitors until pretty much right before you're going to take the start the next day. Basically, the night before the next stage starts, they give you the course for the next day, but it's not a map. It's not a GPS chart with waypoint directions in it. Well, all you get is a notebook with tulip notes, and it's basically turn-by-turn directions, but you have to be able to interpret the symbols. You have to be able to interpret their notes about, is this a dangerous turn? Is there obstacles here? Is there a hazard? And then you have to be able to calculate and keep your distance mileage, because that's the only indications you have in that book. If you get off, you need to figure out where you got off. You got to backtrack, reset your mileage, and go on from there. So navigation is a huge part of it. It's part of the challenge.
Is there any particular times that you wish that you had ejector seats or something to launch yourself out of trouble?
I've not run into that. You feel bad for the guy that sits over here and just has to call directions. He can't turn the wheel.
Who's really white-knuckled the entire time, calling out directions, and
he's really subject to just whatever happens. So he has to have a lot of faith, and we have to. But I think there may be a couple times he'd like to get out, but. We do pretty well with it.
Well, how do you manage the driver swaps? You just do you schedule it out, or do you on your gut feeling or how you're doing at that time?
Yes. Well, to go back to Dakar being such a long rally, we did that. We realized we picked who was primary driver, who was primary co-driver.
Okay.
So that we kind of had a hierarchy there. The other guy, he was more familiar with the car. We felt like after running it, it needed to be him primary driver, which is what we kind of thought to begin with. He stayed primary driver. I did all the co-driving position, and we would switch based on a talk we would have at the beginning of the day about fatigue from the day before, type of terrain, how are you feeling? And there were a couple of times where he, even in the race, he just said, I need to stop. I need you to take over for me. And you've got to have the wherewithal to know when it's time, and that's a big part of it. So I think it's almost 80% mental. I think you can be in good shape, but if you can't mentally hold it together, you're not going to.
Right, to stay sharp, because there's a lot of vehicles around you as well that are traveling high rate of speed, flying all over the place.
Yes, and people get tired, people get frustrated, they get behind. You've got to be very wary of that. Keep yourself calm so that when something does happen, you're reacting appropriately always. And when a mistake happens, not letting yourself
fall apart
over it. You need to recover and move on and not get bogged down.
Just put it behind you and just keep moving, because the whole idea is really just keep moving.
Yes. And we did it. We did a really, it wasn't a hard impact, but it was a kind of a significant rollover. And I think it was good that we had spent so much time together and talked through what to do, because we rolled over, and the way that we ended up, we were trapped in a car. There was a berm that prevented our exit path from either side of the car from being open. And I was actually on the bottom side, and the other driver, so when we let loose of our belts, he's actually on me, and we're having to talk through, you need to dig us out. And he's having to physically by hand pull dirt away to open a hole for us to climb out of the car. Well, in those moments, you got to stay really calm, because your car smells. You can smell fuel. You're upside down. It's dark. You flipped over quickly. You weren't expecting it. I see if you panic there, and there was, say, the car was in a dangerous position, say there was fire or something, you could cost yourself majorly in a hurry. So, but we stuck to it. Got out. Dug our way out. Got some help from another competitor to help roll us back over, and we got back in it. So we were very lucky.
Well, Bryan, thank you for sharing your experiences with the rally racing with us today. How cool is it to be able to spend 14 days not laying on a beach somewhere, with a Mai Tai or something like that, but driving like crazy men across the dunes and the woods of South America. What a great experience. And please keep in touch with us and let us know with the next races and rallies how you're doing, and we'd love to hear from you. Thanks again, Bryan.
Thank you.